Namaste, everyone. Welcome to a very interesting episode of the Cārvāka podcast. I did not realize that this also needs to be broken down, but here we are breaking these things down. So, since India's independence and even before independence, maybe at a civilizational level, India has always had a very interesting relationship with Afghanistan. But we live in the modern world, post World War II, in a democratic world, the United Nations, and whatever we do. And I did not know that a consistent foreign policy of India dealing with the Talibanis was suddenly going to be created into a single incident where a bunch of women journalists march into the Afghanistan embassy and saying, "Dekha, hum idhar aa gaye. Oh, we are here. We have finally arrived." So I wanted to take that as an opportunity and have a larger discussion about geopolitics in general, whether morality has any role to play in geopolitics, and if, how much of a role does it have to play? So let's talk about it. As Abhijit's name today is Taliban feminist. तू बता मेरे को ये क्या तमाशा है? ये मतलब हम लोगों को आज डिस्कवर हुआ है कि तालिबान ऐसा है?
No, I have been saying this since 2019 when I went there, that the Taliban are highly progressive, feminist, secular, democracy loving people. It's just that their version of democracy is village democracy. They are true federal democrats in the truest sense of the word. They always, for every decision, they go down to the village level and take village consent from the village lawyers of Afghanistan. In fact, they're much more democratic than America or India or Switzerland or Italy or any of them.
How? But democracy, it's more like aristocracy, right? Because it doesn't
No,
transfer to across genders.
no, because see, the lawyers, which are the local village assemblies, are convened from the village elders who get chosen by the people, and they all get a say in national policy making at absolutely every single level. That you're looking at even better than Switzerland style democracy in Afghanistan. In Switzerland, if 10,000 people can get a signature, a policy decision goes to the vote, and it can upturn government decisions. And this is very similar, except the people don't have to be confrontative about it. It's consultative at the absolute grassroots level. I think all federalists across the world should be taking Afghan democracy as a model of democratic governance.
Okay, tell me this. What is this latest fight between Afghanistan and Pakistan? Is it even a fight? I think it's a fixed match. Everybody is
So,
just pretending to hate each
before that,
other.
you asked me, women aren't included. Athens is considered the mother of democracy. In Athens, women didn't have the vote.
Yeah, so I don't consider
How do you
Athens a
know?
great example, no?
But see, here's the thing: Athens is considered the mother of all democracies today, right? Till 1979, Swiss women did not have the right to vote.
Yes, I know.
Yes. So, India gave the right to vote to women before other democracies did. That doesn't make them any less democracies. It makes them at a different plane of social development. And I think each country has the right to develop to its own unique genius as opposed to having something foisted down their throats.
Okay, that I understand. Listen, whatever. See, I'm not here to internally. In fact, this is the perfect segue into our larger discussion. That at the end of the day, geopolitics may there is this, and I think I lay this entire drama right at the foot of the Europeans. The European geopolitical strategy has always been, and actually Canada is also like that in many ways, very preachy, because they don't have any hard power. And I say this with no disrespect intended. European nations individually, not the European Union, European nations individually do not have any hard power anymore. So they supplement their hard power through these preachy moral sermons to everyone. That's exactly what Canada does. And people often confuse hard power with this moral preaching. Like America, it doesn't bother about moral preaching, it just goes and invades people.
So, even in Europe, there are, say, three exceptions: Sweden, France, and Italy. And there's a reason behind it. They have very strong military industries, and they have very, very strong militaries. They actually take their militaries very seriously. Sure, the Italian army isn't big, but their navy is extremely powerful. It's built with just one purpose, which is to dominate the Mediterranean, which, as you know, is a very, very problematic naval zone. Lots of illegal immigration, crime, rogue states around the periphery, and things like that. France projects power globally. Sweden keeps to itself, and except for a brief interregnum with this lady Margot Wallström, who advocated a feminist foreign policy, the Swedes don't preach, the French don't preach. They certainly, the only people they preach to are Israel, and that has to do with domestic politics. And the Italians certainly don't go around preaching to anybody else. Collectively, the EU preaches. That's a different matter. The EU preaches because, it's one of the ways of how people with small penises always buy very big cars. It's a bit like that. When you have a small penis, you need a big car.
So that's exactly like I genuinely believe that's the essence of Canadian foreign policy. Like I've said this multiple times. Canada is a country that tagline should be "We strongly condemn you," because that's all they keep doing. They keep condemning people. Like, what is the condemnation for? We condemn you. Then they just go around condemning people.
See, I don't even. How do I put this? Canada doesn't even figure on my radar, bro. It's that simple. Whether they
It's
condemn or they
America's
don't.
neighbor.
I mean, I pay more attention to, say, Swiss foreign policy than I do to Canadian foreign policy, because Swiss foreign policy is more consequential than Canadian foreign policy.
And
And
you're
what is
saying
that?
this right now when the Canadian foreign minister is in India.
Yeah, and how much press coverage did she get? Virtually nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, so which tells you the Swiss president got more coverage than Anita Anand did.
And we have more trade between India and Canada than compared to India and Switzerland.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, it's one of those things where Canada needs to decide if it is punching, it's called punching above one's weight. The belief that, making all these gratuitous statements actually makes people take you more seriously. It does not. It actually makes people take you far, far less seriously. We take Sweden more seriously in India, in foreign policy and military circles. We take Switzerland more seriously in India and foreign policy and military circles. And they certainly don't go around making gratuitous statements condemning anything and everything under the sun.
Fair enough. But then, okay, then what is the essence of geopolitics? Is geopolitics hypocrisy? Like,
No, geopolitics is self-interest. Geopolitics is, creating. Now, look, I'm suddenly anti Al Qaeda. Suddenly, I become pro Al Qaeda, and Al Jolani becomes a moderate rebel. Uh, how do you explain this to people? They're not going to understand, high politics and international games. So you create these constructs through which you explain. Trust. What does trust mean? Absolutely nothing. You can't even trust your own wife in a relationship in most cases, right? uh, you, Common values. What common values? In India, do people believe that for about 4 years in America, from 2020 to 2024, kids could be taken away by social services from their parents and be mutilated genitally if the parents refuse to agree to voluntary genital mutilation? Is that a common value we share with America? No. Do we share a value of going and bombing countries and shoving democracy down their throat? No. What common values are we talking about? See, these are all artificial constructs that we make to, create oneness. Oh, we have trust with the other country. You think America and Britain trusted Stalin when they gave him all their crown jewels of technology to fight the Germans? No. Do you think Stalin had any trust in Hitler when signing the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact to divvy up Poland between themselves? No. So, these things, strategic trust, common values, they mean nothing. Tell me what common values does a dictatorship like Qatar or a dictatorship like Saudi Arabia or a dictatorship like the United Arab Emirates share with America? But apparently, common values don't apply there. When Saddam Hussein kills his people, very, very bad. But when King Fahd used to go around killing his own people, oh, we really don't want to talk about that. What is this hypocrisy? So, we have to understand. Let's talk about the internal hypocrisy. All these tramps who were tweeting about the Taliban not letting women into the press conference, did they open their mouth even once about Deoband? Deoband held a full celebration for the Afghan foreign minister, and that was Indian soil, Indian territory, as opposed to Afghan embassy, which is Afghan soil. Legally, it is considered a part of Afghanistan. Okay, now where were all these tramps when those Deobandis, all male Deobandis, received Mutalik? Where are all these people today when Mamta Banerjee gave a statement saying that it was the girl's fault that she went out for getting raped? So please spare me the shit. If anybody talks about morality, tell them to take it and shove it up their bloody ass.
So essentially, geopolitics में कोई morality नहीं होती. It is all a marriage of convenience. Right? But then how do we blame the Pakistanis, right? The Pakistanis, the famous line of Imran Khan where he said there is good Taliban and then there is bad Taliban. Well, clearly there is good Taliban and bad Taliban. It depends on when it is good and when it is bad, right?
No. There is no bad Taliban. There is only good Taliban. I have been saying this since 2019 when I went to Afghanistan. There is no such thing as bad Taliban. They're all very good people. I've personally, met many of them. They're very good, kind people. There's only good Taliban. He was wrong. There is no bad Taliban.
So then, so then how does India practice geopolitics when we have such bull, such rubbish? I was going to say bullshit, but yeah, well, we how can we have a consistent form? Do you think the Congress would have not done the same thing what the BJP did with Taliban? Like they would have accepted it
Done
too.
the exact same thing. They would have done the exact same thing. Right? Now, the issue here is very simple. The people raising this, first of all, the first person to flag this and raise this is a freelancer who's out of a job who nobody finds worthwhile employing. This is a fantastic way of getting some attention. And the only people that call her are news laundry to their events. Because no journalist with an actual job wants to go to their events, only the jobless ones want to go to their events. Right? It's really that simple. This is attention mongering. Me too. They don't give a shit if women get raped. They don't get a shit if women get educated. They only want to go in and have those Afghan sambosas and Kabuli pulao inside the Afghan embassy. That is all they're really looking for.
So essentially, this is seeking attention on a nothing burger. That's what it was.
But it was actually a lot more sinister than that. Remember, this week saw a concerted attempt to undermine India-Afghan relations. The Pakistanis launched a targeted strike inside Afghan territory. They attacked Afghan territory on the borders. They got made mincemeat of. They've lost about 58 soldiers. And they claim to have captured 2 posts, but it turns out those were all fake staged, which has now been exposed on Twitter as being staged things because they didn't capture diddly squat. These journalists who were talking about all this crap, they were basically acting as fifth columns for the Pakistanis.
So then, how do we? Okay,
mind you, all their outlets had no qualms sending male reporters in. They didn't stay out of the press briefing in protest. So then they should have resigned from their news outlets.
Yeah, why didn't the male reporters resign?
No, why didn't the female reporters resign that they got overridden and their male colleagues got sent in? That means their own bosses are Taliban mentality, no? And the Editors Guild of India puts out a protest with 3 men signing it. Given the caliber of the women protesting, I think the Taliban took a meritocratic decision. It wasn't a gender based decision to leave these reporters out. It was a meritocratic decision to leave these reporters out because they saw that they were all unpaid little hacks, Pakistani hacks, and nothing better.
So, but eventually the women did get to come, and I can only
That was
imagine
charity. That was charity. You
yeah,
understand? Jab,
yeah.
if somebody has told you that they are not going to feed you, you throw a tantrum and get invited to the house for nuisance value. Have you no shame about yourself? Do you have no dignity? Do you have no self respect? तुम तो थूक के भी लायक नहीं हो थू Where is your bloody self respect?
But I can only imagine the
A
conversation between
dog on
the
the street, a dog on the street has more self-respect than these so-called journalists who went in after being treated like trash.
yeah. But what must be the conversation between India and the Afghans, the Talibanis? This is the India was like, अरे आने दो ना आप लोग हमारे लिए एक और नया झंझट खड़ा कर रहे हो." So now, see, all of this is connected to the Afghan Pakistan conflict. And as always, whether we like it or not, it is our neighborhood. And we have a fundamental role to play in our neighborhood. And Afghanistan is very much part of our neighborhood. So, how does India perceive this entire Afghanistan Pakistan struggle? And a one on what are they fighting for right now? Like, what is it about? They keep fighting Pakistan and Afghanistan.
Look, the Pakistan-Afghanistan border has never been resolved to Afghanistan's satisfaction. Okay, and Pakistan basically believes that playing the religion card, you can overcome language like they did with Bengal, or ethnicity like they believe with Afghanistan. The thing about the Afghans now is because they're a religious government, they say, boss, we out Islam you. Your Islam isn't the real Islam. Our Islam is the real Islam. Fuck you. So even on religious grounds, we have a right to take you over. Okay. But deeper down, if you look at it, it is revenge for all those 20 years when many of the Taliban did not want to fight. Their families were kidnapped, killed, handed over to the Americans like bargaining chips or whatever. They don't trust the Pakistanis one bit. They hate the Pakistanis. And they are now paying back the Pakistanis in their own coin. The Pakistanis used to keep claiming to the Americans, we can't control the Taliban because we're a control deficit state. We're a third world country. Now the Afghans are doing the same. The issue was this particular week, because they knew there was a normalization of India-Afghan ties happening, these people decided to take some hard action against the Afghans, not expecting the kind of blowback. So they tried killing Mehsood of the TTP, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, in and there was retaliation. Uh, it turns out that one strike by the Pakistan military, probably I think on a death is to death ratio, the Afghan army kind of is matching the Indian army in the number of terrorists we killed after Pahalgam. And all of this without having a functioning air force or navy.
So essentially, it's about the border. They've never agreed on the border.
Hmm.
Pakistan claims that they control Afghanistan, but Pakistan has successfully sold this to the Americans that they control Afghanistan, while the Afghans keep fighting with them. How does this happen? Like, I don't understand how the Americans are so easily convinced by the Pakistanis. Explain that to me.
So, see, the thing is, I don't think they've convinced the Americans of anything like that. What they have convinced the Americans of is that they have lots of what's it called? Uh, 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 क्या कहते हैं इसको? Rare earths. Okay. This is what they want the Americans to believe. Now, anybody with half a brain knows that Pakistan really doesn't have any rare earths worth its salt. But that doesn't prevent the Pakistanis from selling this. Now, remember, Trump is a guy who's big about natural resources and shit like that. So he's obviously going to fall for this. They've sent about $500 million worth of uh, uh, so-called rare earths to America. We don't know if it is processed, if it is not processed. The Chinese have now stopped their extraction and separation equipment exports. So how is Pakistan going to do it? We don't know. It's going to be one more of those nothing burgers. Tell me, how many times has Pakistan promised the earth and rocked up with absolutely nothing to show for? Now, if the Americans want to get made fools of again, congratulations to them. I'm very happy for them. I wish Pakistan on America, and I wish America on Pakistan. Now, can I just show you this? If you can bring it up on the map. This is the blue is the part of Pakistan that Afghanistan claims. It's slightly more than 50% of Pakistan.
Really? I mean, Afghanistan भी ज़्यादा जज्बाती नहीं होगी तुझे लगता है इधर?
See, these are the maximalist claims. They'll settle for a lot less. But because, the Baloch are there in the south. So, I think if you cut it off here, can you see this where I'm moving my mouse?
Yeah.
You cut it off here and say this is Balochistan and north. Everything north of Quetta is Afghanistan. They'll be quite happy with that. But remember, the biggest Pashtun city today, any guess?
Biggest Pashtun city must be in KPK, na? या वो जो भी है.
No.
Where?
It's Karachi.
क्या बात कर रहा है? कराची में?
Karachi has the biggest Pashtun population on earth.
Wow. So कराची की तो पूरी डेमोग्राफी चेंज हो गई है फिर.
Of course. And see, I support our Afghan brothers in all their claims. I have to be very clear about this. Because they're feminists. Yes. And in fact, it is wrongly construed to be a territorial ethnic dispute. I personally believe that the Taliban are going into Pakistan to liberate the oppressed women of Pakistan. Because, Pakistan is a very patriarchal, oppressive society towards women. And I believe the Taliban are there to liberate women and bring about, democratic structures of government. Why are you laughing? Do you see me laughing?
Because it's so ridiculous.
Well, if Al-Jolani can be a moderate, the Taliban can be feminists, bro.
See, yeah, obviously. अरे वो आदमी को वो लोग UN में लाके उसको celebrate कर रहे हैं यार.
Have you ever seen an American, French, German, EU diplomat ever smile when they call Al-Jolani a moderate rebel?
Never.
So why are you giggling?
Because I can't stop laughing. Because it is all ridiculous. That's what my point is.
Anybody who disagrees with the Taliban being democratic, secular, progressive feminist is a Pakistani agent, is a paid ISI spy.
Oh.
And needs to be thrown in jail.
Acha. So I have a question here. When it comes to this entire Afghans being sent back also, a lot. See, whether we like it or not, after the Russian invasion or the attempted Russian invasion of Afghanistan, a lot of Afghanis had moved to Pakistan, till the extent that, there were like generations of Afghanistanis that are literally born and raised in Pakistan. Now, Pakistan sent a lot of them back. I think 1 million approximately were sent back to Afghanistan. Why do you think that has also added to the resentment?
No, a lot of people are actually glad to be back in Afghanistan, by the way. A lot of people are glad to be back in Afghanistan because they want to be rid of the squalor in which they lived in Pakistan. They were not treated well in Pakistan. If you go to Afghanistan, you'll see everybody, except if you're living in the city, has a little patch of land They've got some dignity. They're not tyrannized by some landlord. See, remember, Afghanistan is a pastoralist, semi nomadic kind of a society. Pakistan is a feudal society. Big, it's an agrarian, sedentary, feudal society. Very different kinds of oppression. Sure, in Afghanistan, you can argue in the villages there is male oppression. Of course, the Taliban oppose that. They are highly feminist in their outlook. But, there they don't shove their decisions down the local lawyers. They build a consultative process and multi-stakeholder consultations in order to deal with the oppression of women in Afghanistan, as it should be done in any federal democratic republic as the Afghan state is. But everybody in Afghanistan has some dignity. The kind of abject poverty you get to see in Pakistan, you will not see in Afghanistan.
No, no, but yeah, what about the minorities? I mean, let's face the facts. The Afghan Sikhs, the Afghan Hindus, they do struggle there, right? And now I know they did this. Oh, I will wear a cloth that the Afghan Sikhs and Hindus wear. But let's
No,
face
no,
the
no, no. Hang on a minute. The Afghan Sikhs were not attacked by the Taliban leadership. The Afghan Sikhs were attacked by people directly under ISI command. Never forget that. We still don't know who attacked the Gurdwaras. Their identities have been suppressed. But no Taliban commander ever took this thing for it unless they were under Pakistani control or sitting in Pakistan. Those were hits directly ordered by the ISI. The Hazaras are chilled. The Hazaras were not chilled. 20 years back, if you had asked me the same question in 1998, had you asked me the same question, I would have said the Hazaras are oppressed. I would have said the Uzbek are oppressed. But ever since 2019, when I've toured and talked to a lot of people on the ground, and what I see now, I know lots of Uzbek Taliban. I know one Hazara Taliban. And they have reconciled.
do,
Taliban has come up with a modus vivendi. Look, when you're young, you tend to be very idealistic and whatever. And when you grow up, you realize life is something to be negotiated with. They have negotiated with the Hazaras and with the Uzbek and come to some kind of a modus vivendi. You think troops in the Hazara regions would have collapsed as rapidly as they had they not built up some kind of concord with the Taliban? There are Shia Taliban. And today I can tell you the Afghan state is truly a grassroots democracy. That sure, it excludes women, but it is a grassroots consultative process that competes with anything Europe has, say, in Liechtenstein or Switzerland.
so where does Afghanistan deal with this entire issue of all these allegations? Now America wants Bagram base back, so how is that going to happen? Look, Afghanistan
How are
can't
they
take.
going to supply Bagram Air Base?
I have no clue, you tell me.
There you go. See, look, Trump wants a lot of things. It's like a kid who wants everything. You can't have everything you want,
Hmm.
right? Diego Garcia is very easy to supply by sea. Bagram is landlocked in the middle of a particular, ring of mountains around it. Even road supply to Bagram is very, very expensive. People don't realize this. So, fuel that has to be transported to Bagram, air to makes no sense. I mean, you can't blow up 100 liters of fuel to supply 100 liters of fuel. You understand? But road supply of fuel to those areas is very, very, very expensive.
Hmm.
Best of luck trying. I mean, I hope Trump gets Bagram, and I think
But
the
do you
Americans.
think this current conflict has anything to do, like the Afghan Pakistan current back and forth, anything to do
Yes,
with Bagram?
this, remember we discussed this on the Sham Sharma show earlier. The Americans always believe that their proximity to Pakistan acts as a suppressor of Pakistan's adventurism. Everybody else in the neighborhood understands very well that America getting close to Pakistan only acts as an enabler of Pakistani adventurism.
Hmm.
Now, direct, did Trump ask them to do that particular thing or scale it up at this particular time? No. But has it in some form or way enabled Pakistan, encouraged Pakistan, the cockiness? Yes.
Hmm. So what do you think happening? Maybe we can spend the next 10-15 minutes and then we'll take the comments. Um, uh, Imagining what's the future of this neighborhood, right? I don't understand what Trump's end game is, to be very honest. Nobody understands that right now. He just keeps floating from one. Well, at least today one good thing can be attributed to him: the hostages are back. um, and notice, only male hostages, not even a single female hostage survived. To all the 20 photos that I saw, not even a single female was there. All only men have been sent back.
Yes.
So much for the visionary leadership of Gaza. um, the animals that they are. But the point is that Hamas is Hamas, but you have to give it to Trump. I think Trump does have a role to play here, unlike what he claims in India and Pakistan. But what is the road ahead for India? Like, how do we manage? Well, clearly this trip to India from Afghanistan was a very strategic trip. India is playing its cards. So what do you think we can do in this region in the coming future? And I actually also had one Bangladeshi question. Did you listen to Mohammad Yunus making the claim that a lot of factories from India are going to go to Bangladesh? 50% of Bangladeshi textile units have shut down in 1 year.
Come 26th of February, he's no longer going to be the prime minister. Why are you worried about him?
He's so irritating.
Yeah, he's irritating, but we shouldn't respond to every mosquito and lump of shit that comes on our.
That is true.
When you're, unfortunately, when you're driving past
Guilty as
Indian road
charged.
with
Guilty
your
as charged.
windows down and the cow is, waving its tail, some shit will land on you. Do you get out of the car and start screeching at the cow? No.
True.
Mohammed Yunus is that little speck of shit from the cow's ass that falls on you when it's waving its tail. Full stop, deal with it. Go home and take a shower. So let's leave him aside. He's an irrelevant little nuisance. Well, he's not little, he's quite fat, but irrelevant fat nuisance. But what was with what was the other thing you asked me before
No, no. So
Yunus?
how do we manage this? What is the road ahead for us,
He
considering
was,
Trump's
look,
tantrums as far as our region is concerned?
he has to be managed somehow. You make the best of a bad situation. And mind you, the situation before wasn't any worse. Any less worse. With Biden, it was actually much tougher to deal with because they were undermining your state using all these NGO type shitholes, and there was nothing much you could do about it. So Trump actually did you a huge favor by dismantling USAID and all those things. So let's also say thank you to Trump for a change, huh? Okay, he's hurting Indian industry. Is he hurting any other part? Not really. With Pakistan are willing to take off their clothes and dance for him. Can you blame yourself? Pride comes with a cost. So let's be clear about it. Pride comes with a cost. When you're like Pakistan, like Asim Munir, you throw $5 at him and tell him to do a striptease, he'll do it for you. He'll dangle his little schlong in your face and stir your cocktails with it if you want. Did he mind ever being taken in through the back door through which Marilyn Monroe used to get taken up to fuck John F. Kennedy? No, he didn't. He was very happy to go the first two times without a photo. No?
Hmm.
So, listen, Let's get a gauge. Sergio Gore, who is Trump's most trusted right hand, has been sent here for a reason. He thought
Why?
he could bully us. He's realized he can't bully us. So Sergio Gore is going to set the thing straight. And they're going to fix it. Now, I don't know how they're going to fix it, what the modus operandi is going to be. Remember when Trump reached out and we said, this is going to end. I also said this, Shivarur also said this. There are going to be more hiccups. There are going to be several more hiccups. Expect two,
Hmm.
three more surprises, more maybe. But eventually, even under Trump, this relationship is going to be fixed. Why? That's the question. Because no matter how much we have disputes between ourselves, China is the big threat in the room that nobody can make a deal with. And understand, there would have been a point at which, America could have made a deal with China for a duopoly and screwed India over very badly, which is, of course, what Obama proposed. Everybody seems to have forgotten Obama's proposal for a G2. Guess who the biggest enemies of that were? The Chinese, because they don't believe in a G2. How long have we been trying to fix our ties with the Chinese? Have the Chinese allowed the ties to get fixed? No, because they're pig headed. If you can trust one thing, trust Chinese pig headedness.
Hmm. And how do you see our Afghan relationship now? Look, his visit and him being given all this attention in Delhi is no small matter. I think it's an important signal that we've sent to the Taliban.
I have been saying this for how long? We have very close brotherly ties with the Taliban. The Taliban are true followers of the Gram Panchayat system. We might have forgotten it, but they remember it is the truest tribute to Indian culture that they follow the Gram Panchayat system in its true form and its true meaning. Uh, they are genuine federalists. I think we have great amount of common interests, common values, shared values. We are both secular countries. We are both against extremism in all its forms and manifestations. We are both. One is a progressive democracy that has progressed a bit. Another is a progressive democracy that needs to progress more. Why should we judge people in our own image? Why can't you accept that the Taliban have good intentions and what is not there today will be there 15, 20 years down the line?
And let me, this is not, this
Tell me
Vineet
how
comment is very serious. Every Indian vlogger genuinely gets treated well in Afghanistan, man. They
yes,
do. There is no, this is not some conspiracy theory. They
yeah.
do treat us well.
Not just Indian vlogger, Indians, period. If you say Musafire Hindustan, they will be like, oh, they will shower you with love. And listen, at some point, give our foreign policy some credit, including Nehru, including Indira Gandhi. And,
Yes,
Indira Gandhi, of course, we should never hesitate to give credit to. She was a master player of
obviously.
international politics.
Boss, she created Bangladesh.
No, in the last Samosa caucus, Anand and I had a big fight about this because he thought, she wasn't very good, and she was boss. Believe me, wo sabki maa thi in terms of calculative foreign policy. Okay, nobody could outplay her in foreign policy. Economic policy, sure, criticize, but I don't believe her intention was ever bad. Nehru, sure, lot to be criticized, but even Nehru, a 99.99% Muslim country, for the last 75 to 80 years of your independence has virtually been your ally, save for 2 to 4 years in between, which was an aberration, which is from what, 96 to 2000, something like that.
Hmm.
uh, that was the aberration. Kuch to credit do bhai.
Yeah.
So I salute the Modi government, and it has recognized that The Taliban are feminists in deed and not in word. And we must accept the exclusion of female journalists, of certain female journalists from the presser, was on grounds of lack of merit and not because of their gender.
Listen, my point to it is very simple. It was Talibani property. It was Afghan property, their society, their rules. We have to respect that. You
Yeah.
know what? The Parsi Agyari does not have non-Parsis inside the Parsi
Yes.
Agyari. The Indian
Yes.
state allows that. You know what? If where are all these journalists who don't fight for Indian Muslim women? What happens
Yeah.
to them then? Why don't they demand a secular
Remember,
civil
these
code in
people,
India?
these same women were opposing the triple talaq banning. They were opposing the banning of nikah halala.
Exactly. Exactly.
So please,
Exactly.
let us be very clear. The Taliban are feminists who excluded these fake feminists, these frauds, on grounds of merit. They don't deserve to be called journalists. They're Pakistani agents and spies. Their first reports would have been filed with the Pakistan High Commissioner and not with their respective news bureaus.
Yeah. So now, by the way, I just read जब तू बोल रहा था, can you believe it? Canada India का joint statement अभी release हुआ है. Can you
Hmm.
believe this is the first joint statement that does not mention transnational repression?
And we know exactly why, because Mark Carney is a guy who has access to international funds and finances. He doesn't need bloody Khalistanis and their dirty drug money and things like that. So
Yeah,
good on him.
it's a detailed roadmap of what's gonna happen.
And maybe losers like Pierre Polivier who still haven't learned, who are retaining their power only because their girlfriend runs the party, uh, uh, will learn something about actually running a party instead of using past sexual relationships and hiding under somebody's skirt.
No, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and I'm glad.
I mean,
Good for.
really, Pierre Polivier, grow a goddamn dick, dude.
No, he should. I think eventually, it's not going to happen right now. I think eventually the conservatives will need, if they ever think of coming to power, they're not coming to power with this gentleman. But now let's take all the questions. Yeah, I'm not taking useless ones. Considering the fact that many Tatars Uzbeks served in USSR army in Afghan, then why did USSR fail to integrate Afghan Muslims into their empire country? Good question.
Very, very good question. Remember when they integrated the Tatar and Uzbeks? This was in the 1910s up to the 1920s, mid 20s. It was done in a horrific fashion. Go read up about the Russian Civil War. Millions were killed. Millions were, put in gulags and concentration camps and forcibly relocated and things like that. It was nasty. It was absolutely nasty. In two places, they did not succeed. Not one, two. And both are very common in their mountainous regions. The first is Chechnya. They never succeeded, and even Stalin did not succeed in Chechnya. Even though he displaced the entire Chechen population, the whole of Chechnya were deported. But they still came back and resisted. And the second is Afghanistan. Understand terrain plays a great role. Now you'll ask, well, Tajikistan also has mountains. They are Shia. Don't
Hmm.
forget that, right? So different geographies, different histories, and what happened in Afghanistan ultimately. In the 1980s, there was enough press and public coverage that you could not do in Afghanistan what you did in Central Asia, Russian Turkestan, in the 1910s and 1920s. Okay,
Hmm.
you couldn't do it, full stop. So different periods of time, different histories, different terrain. And remember when the Russians were doing what they did in Central Asia, and the Soviets, the Russians and the Soviets. Remember, the Tsar himself had started the process of Russian Russification. Um, who was there supplying the Kazakhs, the Tajiks, the Kyrgyz, the Uzbeks, and the Turkmens? Nobody was. The Afghans had a lot of outside support. Don't forget that. Lots of money, lots of arms. None of those other stans had any of that. They had very little coming from outside. Na ke barabar.
Hmm.
Right? So, like I said, different times, different histories, different trajectories, different possibilities.
So, Abhijit, are you saying the Afghan army is better than the Pakistan army?
Afghan army is better than the Pakistan armed forces. Uh, uh, y- they're
Not
different.
really.
They're geared to a different kind of combat. Uh, that's it.
Do people forget that America could never, neither the Russians could never ever capture Afghanistan? Do they realize that basic reality?
Because Alexander couldn't really keep it under control. Alexander couldn't keep it under control. The Persians couldn't keep it under control. A Persian emperor died somewhere well north of there in the Stans. But Afghanistan was the most problematic province they had. The only person who was able to temporarily control Afghanistan was Ranjit Singh, Maharaja Ranjit Singh. And the Sikhs went absolute apeshit genocidal out there to do it. Right? So, uh, yes, the Afghans are, uh, they're different.
Okay. Everything is fine, but why were Afghan Sikh who had to flee because of Taliban facilitating Taliban foreign minister? Is this like a chickens for KFC moment? This is a good question.
No,
These are good questions.
these are good questions. But remember, like I said again, who were the ones orchestrating the attacks on Sikhs? It was the ISI. It was the ISI. The moment the Afghans took control, where is the oppression of Sikhs? You
Hmm.
understand? So this has been, you have to, and look, at times of war, certain excesses will happen. The innocent will get harmed. There is no war in which innocent people do not get harmed. Not one.
Hmm.
Okay. Uh, I'm sure the Taliban would love to welcome our Sikh brothers and sisters who came from their back. I'm sure they want to reopen the Gurdwara out there. And I'm sure our Sikh brothers and sisters who want to go back there will be treated like any Indian would, which is with great respect and love. I have found nothing but love, adoration, and respect as an Indian in Afghanistan. And I urge all of you to visit Afghanistan and feel this for yourself. Don't take my word for it.
And one day we will restore the Bamiya Buddhas too.
Maybe not, but bridge too far.
एक दिन
देखो,
होगा.
let's not cry over spilt milk, but let us also be clear that the person who destroyed the Bamiyan Buddhas wasn't the Taliban, it was Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb is the one that had the faces and all the relevant features sawed off.
Yeah, I
What
know.
was left was a sad shadow of itself.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so but the same people who claim the Taliban are bigots will tell you that Aurangzeb was extremely secular.
Hmm. So, will Pakistan keep starting wars for Trump to end by using tariffs and big, beautiful trade deals till Trump gets his fully deserved Nobel Peace Prize? Trump is not getting a Nobel Peace Prize, okay?
Not. I think you really have to understand Norwegians. They justified it claiming that the time frame had elapsed, but VS Naipaul actually got it after the time frame elapsed to make a political point. People don't realize this. VS
Hmm.
Naipaul hadn't even been nominated that year. They gave it to him to make a point against Islam in the wake of 9/11. I
Hmm.
don't think people grasp exactly how left wing Norwegians are.
Hmm.
Anyway, bro, I have to go now.
हाँ तू जा. I'll take the rest of the questions. तू जा
ठीक है.
मैं बाकी के मैं ले लेते हैं. चल
Okay.
तू जा.
हाँ. Bye.
बाय बाय. ऑलराइट. सिलेंडर भाई का डांस देख के बहुत दिन हो गए. नहीं भाई कोई डांस देखने की जरूरत नहीं है. प्लीज एक्सप्लेन व्हाई AN-121 लैंडेड रिसेंटली इन इंडिया. कांट. भाई ये क्या है? कर्मा विल नेवर फॉरगिव अभिजीत अय्यर मित्रा, समोसा सरीन एंड यूसुफ ऊंजावाला who are laughing at the जयपुर डायलॉग समिट. भाई मेरे को नहीं मालूम क्या होता है. ना मैं जयपुर डायलॉग्स देखता हूँ, ना मैं वो समिट देखता हूँ, ना मुझे ये चीजों के बारे में मालूम है. Could you explain the current state? This is not about the Russia-Ukraine war. This was about Taliban. Um, we've taken the Bagram question already. Rare earths are essentially a Chinese monopoly. If Pakistan selling it, USA to USA after processing it, they are not undercutting China. How is China allowing it? Well, you're assuming there are some rare earths available. I would highly recommend all of you to read this detailed essay by Sushant Sareen on this uh, entire rare earths thinking. In ORF. I think it was in ORF that Sushant had written it. Wait, let me find it for you guys. कहाँ लिखा था उसने? Yes. Okay. So this is a wonderful long form piece that Sushant had written. It's called Sheikh Chillinomics, the Mirage of Pakistan's US trade deal. It was written on August 14th, 2025. Pakistan's US trade deal sparked triumph over India, but the fine print reveals more glitter than gold with little real gain for Islamabad. I want you guys to go and read that. And I think this will answer your question. Uh, Taliban do have a 99% gay reservation. Very good. National security strategy that is being formally written. How do you make sure that it is evolving and that the forces, babus and politicians follow it? Now see, the one thing I can say with a little bit of certainty is the one thing where we have actually government to government consistency in India since 1947 onwards has been the national security policy and foreign policy, with two aberrations being the Morarji Desai government and in the Inder Kumar Gujral government. And those were very short term governments where a lot of our national security assets were burnt. And this is not something that I'm sharing that insider information. If you read enough books, you will know a lot of our raw assets were burnt by Inder Kumar Gujral especially, and that's a problem. Other than that, our national security policy has been very consistent in India. Listen, your disagreements with Congress has to be on policy based issues, but by and large on national security, BJP is better on national security objectively. And this is not me. You can talk to people who are in the national security apparatus, who are retired, and off the record वो तुम्हें बता देंगे. And they will always say कि BJP is better. Any internal news about Sergio's visit being received or too early to tell? Too early to tell. Wait. Will the US China trade war return, making Trump softer on India's terms? Is India still working Myanmar to supply rare earths to the US? On the Myanmar bit, I don't think so. Any update has come other than the last standard that it is neither here nor there. As far as the US China trade war is concerned, look, the US is literally, I think to me, it comes off as US groveling in front of China, not any other way. Is Modi's absence at the Gaza Peace Summit a missed opportunity to project strength, relevance in the? Shouldn't we be participating more? No, I don't think Modi should go. I think the Prime Minister did the perfectly correct thing to avoid this kind of a showdown with Donald Trump. We don't need to be there. We are a strong nation. We will deal with these things at our old terms. In your conversation with Abhijit Chavda, why did you say Astana? Astana is a shithole? Yeah, Astana क्या होता है? I have no idea what Astana means now. This is a new term that I have heard. Like, I don't understand what this question is. I don't see people criticizing the Devband, but why do they criticize Taliban? Look, yeah, I mean, Pikachu, man, you know how hypocrisy is. The same people who find a problem with Taliban doing this or that do not find a problem with internal politics of Devband in India. It's all rubbish. CBSE board to give Afghan to come study in India. Afghans do come and study in India. I think we should give Afghan women the opportunity to study in India. How MEA's outreach to neighbors can be improved? I mean, see, how can it be improved? I think we could invest a little more in aid packages and stuff like that. And as far as national security ops are concerned, I think we already do a lot of work. Odds of Haqqanis visiting Delhi 50-50. Can we also forget the Indian Airlines hostage situation done by Taliban? No, we should not forget anything, but we have to be pragmatic. अस्थाना दिल्ली क्या अस्थाना कौन सा अस्थाना कजाकिस्तान कैपिटल मैंने कोई कजाकिस्तान के ऊपर कभी कोई डिस्कशन ही नहीं किया है मैंने कोई कजाकिस्तान के ऊपर मैं कोई बात नहीं बोलूंगा मुझे उसके बारे में मालूम नहीं है आई डोंट नो व्हाट लाइक क्या पता नहीं लोग बकवास करते रहते हैं एनीवेज सो इज देयर एनी अदर क्वेश्चन लेफ्ट नो आई थिंक मैं कोई कजाकिस्तान के ऊपर भाई मैं नहीं बोलता हूँ आप मिक्स कर चुके हो मुझे किसी और से मैं कजाकिस्तान पे कोई डिस्कशन नहीं करता हूँ and always remember this as a passing comment so um, geopolitics is not some moral purity test and these are my closing remarks geopolitics is about pure national interest sometimes being enforced through brute force and sometimes being enforced through mental gymnastics. That's how geopolitics always crumbles down. And all this moral posturing about women not being allowed inside the Afghan embassy was more a bunch of Indian journalists actually acting on behalf of Pakistan than on looking at India's national interests. Is it ideal? Obviously, it's not ideal. I think Afghanistan's stand on women not playing cricket and many other things is atrocious, and I don't support it. But will I care about it? Listen, Indian foreign policy has been a non-preachy foreign policy. You want to become like Americans, where you go around giving freedom and democracy to everyone. You want that kind of foreign policy. Do you understand the kind of costs that has? I don't think. I just don't understand the point of it. We have to stand our own ground. We have to look at our own interests in our own neighborhood. Our focus should be making India stronger. Like मतलब कुछ भी बकवास करते रहना कि मैं उधर जाके उसको करूंगा. Listen, build hard power, become an economic superpower, and then think about these things. It's not our job to get into all these moral purity lessons. I am no fan of the Taliban. I am no fan of any of these things. I like the Afghan people, and I'm always there for the Afghan people. I am so happy that the Board for Cricket Control of India actually bails out Afghanistan cricket all the time. It's very good. We should do it with Nepal. We should do it with Afghanistan. We should do it with Sri Lanka cricket, not with Bangladeshi cricket anymore or Pakistani cricket. But the point is, these things are there, and we have to be realistic about these issues. This is our neighborhood. Afghanistan plays a pivotal role in our neighborhood, and we cannot get preachy about these things. If you want Indian interests, and let me repeat it again, all these people who are making these so-called lofty, using these lofty lines, the Congress would have done the same thing. I can guarantee you the Congress would have done the same thing. And that's the maturity of the Indian foreign policy. And we have to be realistic. ये आप unrealistic बातें करोगे, and then you will have these unrealistic expectations from someone to go around. ये मतलब I don't understand what the hell is going on. Stop morally preaching. You don't do this. We need the Taliban for our own personal interests. We'll use them. That's the short answer of it. There is no morality in foreign policy. The Americans, do you think the Americans didn't? Americans were the best friends of the Saudis. Under Mohammed bin Salman, their society has actually become more liberal. But the Americans were even closer to the Saudis when the Saudis were batshit crazy. Do you think anybody goes around questioning the Americans? Anybody has the guts to question the Americans? Do you think American journalists go around and say, "Hum condemn karte hai tumko"? They don't give a shit. The American foreign, yeah, the journalists will go on doing their own thing. American foreign policy will go on doing its own thing. The Indian foreign policy establishment is correct in dealing with the Taliban, is correct. And I would have said the same thing if the Congress would have done it. If the Congress would have done this, the Congress would have been correct. And if the BJP support base would have criticized the Congress over morality, they would be wrong. फॉरेन पॉलिसी में कोई मॉरल प्योरिटी नहीं होती है. मॉरल प्योरिटी इज फॉर इंटरनल पॉलिटिक्स. डू वी वांट तालिबानी पॉलिटिक्स इन इंडिया? नो. So why don't you guys come and support a uniform secular civil code? Morality is for internal consumption, my internal problem, not some other region. I don't care about them. I care about my geopolitical interests. So stop this. And after 2 years, we will take a complete U-turn and do a complete 180 if it suits Indian interests. Then that's what geopolitics is all about. It's purely transactional. It is about having one night stands with different people based on different issues for completely different reasons. And we will keep on doing it. We should do it, and we should do it unabashedly, and nobody should give a flying F about it. That's how the cookie crumbles, ladies and gentlemen. But once again, before we wrap up, thank you very much for tuning in. If you have not joined the membership program of the Cārvāka podcast, please do consider joining the membership program of the Cārvāka podcast. This podcast only survives on monthly membership donations. So if you're not a member, छोटा सा tier hai, even if you join the Seekers tier, which is like 60-70 bucks a month, it goes a long way. If hundreds of you join that, just join the membership program. You get members only content वैसे भी. Or if you want to send one-time donations, send your donations through UPI, kushalmehra at ICICI, or in Interac Canada, kushalmehra81@gmail.com. These are the two platforms. If you want to buy my book Nastic, it's available on Amazon. The new book on blasphemy, I think, should come out in the end of December. That's also coming out. You want to buy Cārvāka podcast merchandise, all the details are in the description. And one last request: if you have not subscribed to the Cārvāka podcast YouTube channel till now, hit that subscribe button right now. If you do that, that also helps boosting the channel a long way. If you have not liked this video, like it right now. Leave a comment in the comment section. There is another super chat. An Indian CM just told everyone that girls shouldn't be allowed outside after 8 p.m. for their safety. Do we have a right to look down at Taliban? Well, we do, because overall we're still better society than Afghanistan for women. So that's not a fair comparison. Yes, we have idiots in India too, but to say that we have no locus standi here is, I mean, come on, yeah. Let's get real. इतना भी जज्बाती नहीं है. But anyways, once again, I want to request everyone, if you have not subscribed to the Cārvāka podcast YouTube channel, subscribe right now. Like this video right now. If you can join the membership program, join it right now, whether on YouTube or on Patreon. You want to send one-time donation, send it on UPI, kushalmehra at ICICI, or through Interac Canada. The email ID is kushalmehra81@gmail.com. Keep watching the Cārvāka podcast. This journey has been amazing. To survive without doing ad reads for 5 freaking years, doing this full time has been very humbling. And I want to thank all of you for all the support. But the more you support me, the more I can travel, the more investigative reports I can bring to you. My reason for being successful in Canada has been this monthly support. That support helps me travel thousands of kilometers, do offline interviews, collect that data, and present it as reports to all of you. Remember, it was me who had told you that intelligence sharing had started 5 months ago when nowhere in the news was it said. It is because of the monthly memberships and the one-time donations that support me. I can do all this traveling, talk to people off the record, and bring those news segments to you. If you do it more, I will give you more of such news. There is a reason why this channel became the centrifugal force of India-Canada relations, and it will continue to do so. So keep watching the Cārvāka podcast. Thank you very much. Take care.